So for this video, I want to keep working on the magnitude of the vector. Last problems, we have to find the hypotenuse given x and y. So now you see for this problem, you see that we have the hypotenuse, we have the angle. What's missing is the x and y components. So let's start. So this is what we're looking for. We're looking for that part and this part, right? So this is y, this is x. Okay, so how do we find that? If you remember, you see right here, we have the angle is 36 degrees, right? So if I take the cosine of 36 degrees, by definition, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So in this case, we have x over 18. For y, you can take sine, because sine, by definition, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So we have y over 18. So in order for you to solve for x and y, you just have to isolate x and cross multiply. So we have x equals to 18 multiplied by cosine of 36 degrees. And then same thing for y. We have 18 sine of 36 degrees. Okay, let me just get the number first, and then we talk about negative and positive. So 36, cosine of 36 is about 0.8090 times 18. What I have right here is 14 times 0.56. And then 18 times sine of 36 is going to give me 10.58. All right. So if you go back to the graph, you can see that for x, we have negative. For y, we have positive. So that's how we determine the negative and the positive. Okay, so it's purely based on the graph. Moving on. So when we talk about vector, you will run into something called a dot product. Dot product of the two vectors is defined by u1 v1 plus u2 v2. So as you can see, the dot product is going to give you a number. And then we have the cosine of theta is going to be the dot product over the magnitude of v times the magnitude of u. All right, and then I have to mention the property right there, because that property is very important. So if you have two non-zero vectors and if they are perpendicular, then the dot product has to be 0. And if it's go the other way around as well. So if the dot product is 0, then you know the vectors are perpendicular. All right, so let's find the dot product of two vectors, 3, 7, and 8, negative 4. So based on the definition, it's going to be u1 v1 plus u2 v2. So we have 3 times 8 plus 7 times negative 4. And that's it. That's how you do it, right? So we have 24 minus 28, which is negative 4. And that's the dot product. Okay, now I have two vectors and I want to find the angle between those two vectors. So you can see right here, the angle. Cosine of theta is going to be the dot product of u and v. And then you take the magnitude and you multiply the magnitude. Okay. So hopefully you still remember how to find the magnitude. The magnitude is the distance, right? So straightforward. We have to find the dot product and the magnitude of both. All right, let's take care of the dot product because that's the easy part. So u dot v is going to be -3 times -8 plus -1 times 7. So what do we have here? We have 24 minus 7. So the dot product is 17. Now, I'm going to have to find the distance, the magnitude of u. So the magnitude of u, recall, is the square root of, I'm sorry, let's call this one as u, and this is v. Okay, so the magnitude of u is going to be -3 squared plus -1 squared. So it's going to be square root of 9 plus 1 is 10. Okay, and then we have v. So what I have right here for v is going to be -8 squared plus 7 squared. So it's going to be 64 plus 49, 113. All right. Notice that we're going to have to approximate, okay? So don't forget right here, we're trying to solve for theta. So I'm going to put everything in. So we know that cosine of theta is going to be 17 over, and then we have square root of 10, square root of 113. All right, I'm going to try to use the calculator just one time. So if you want, you can solve for theta. That's just the arc cosine of 17 over square root of 10, square root of 113. Okay, now we can use a calculator. So my answer if you use a calculator, the answer is going to be 59.62 degree. Okay, so the next example, we're dealing with perpendicular. And I just want to remind you, so if the two vectors are perpendicular, if and only if the dot product is 0. Okay, so all we have to do is we try to set up the dot products and set it equal to 0. So what I have right here is -3 times -7 plus -1 times k equal to 0. So I have 21 here minus k equal to 0. So negative k is going to be -21. So k is 21. Okay, so there we have it. K is 21. All right, moving on.